Hello, and welcome to week 6 of Social Work 636 Organization and Program Development. So, we're going to begin talking about week 6 by reviewing the objectives and the reading. So, the objectives are to describe the challenges of management, to analyze ethics and ethical dilemmas in leadership and organizational management, and to identify and describe the key attributes of leadership. And as you can see, there are a whole lot of readings for this week. Brody and their book, chapters 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So do the best you can in terms of getting through the readings because they're necessary for the discussion for this week. So, for your first discussion on leadership and interpersonal skills, you are going to be going through 3 parts around leadership. So, part 1 is a leadership inventory. There are 3 possibilities you could use in terms of that inventory. It says you can complete one or more of the following leadership style competency inventories, and then in one paragraph, summarize your results. In a second paragraph, comment on whether the results were consistent with how you see yourself, why or why not. So choose one or more of the 3 and discover your leadership competencies. The second part is reflection on supervision, which is in 2 or 3 paragraphs. Consider your supervisor at a current or recent workshop. If you haven't had a work site, I'm assuming that all of you have either been in a internship or a work site. If not, then possibly a volunteer situation. What different roles have you seen your supervisor play? To what degree has your supervisor successfully played each of these roles? And assess the degree to which your supervisor practiced elements of good supervision. What was done? What are the areas that need improvement? And for the third section, you're going to specifically focus on chapter 10. And chapter 10 talks about problem issues and supervision. So you're going to look at a time when possibly you or someone else had to deal with a problematic coworker, and what was that situation like? So give a brief description of the scenario. How was the situation handled, either successfully or unsuccessfully? If handled successfully, what made it so? And if it wasn't done successfully, what made it so? And as always, you are posting and then you are responding to at least one of your peers' initial posts. And the guidelines are as follows. This is due Thursday, and the follow-ups are due by Sunday. And then the assignment for the week is to put together your cumulative program proposal. You're going to start with your statement of need, goals and objectives, your logic model, the description, the budget narrative, and program evaluation. Make sure you've now incorporated all the components of your proposal. You've revised all of those components, and now you're going to see if it all hangs together. So consistency is important. Read that whole proposal. Don't just put the pieces together. Make sure it is now consistent. Make sure all the corrections have been made. And if there are any changes you need to make them before you submit. I suggest now leaving out all the template verbiage and just submitting your proposal. So that is due by Sunday and will be graded accordingly. So to say a few words that are in all of these chapters that you were required to read, as I've said before, all of you are expected to be leaders, even if you are remaining in a primarily clinician role. You are going to be taking leadership positions as leaders in teams. You may be supervisors. You may be running your own private practice. So leaders, managers, supervisors, and organizations must demonstrate some skills. One is if you're in a position to hire, you have to demonstrate good interviewing skills. So it's important to learn what to ask, but just as important to learn what not to ask. So don't use language like you're overqualified if you're not giving someone a position because it connotes some age discrimination. Don't discuss past salary history. I've just learned this one because it could indicate some gender bias given that women often make less money than men. Don't ask about age, marital status, children, health. These are all discriminatory questions. And something I learned from the readings, don't ask about past felony convictions because they may or may not disqualify somebody from a position. So those things may come out when you do background checks, and just about every organization now requires child abuse, criminal, and fingerprint history before hiring someone. You want to be upfront about the position when you are interviewing someone so they know about the expectations, and also get permission to check those references, get that permission in writing. And I would also suggest strongly that you verify someone's degree because my experience is that people often falsify that they have a degree from somewhere. So get the verification of the degree. Showing you a copy of a degree or a diploma is not good enough. You need verification. Anyone can make up diploma copies. Staff development is critical if you want to keep staff. So good training, providing them educational opportunities is great. Meeting consistently with your staff, finding out what motivates them, what their goals and objectives are, and helping them reach them. It's not all about just talking to them about problems. You want to get to know people and really demonstrate that you have their best welfare in mind. There are different types of organizational structures. We're often most familiar with the bureaucratic, which is the large human service organizations. There are market formats, which tend to be more your entrepreneurial, technology driven organizations where people work in and out of assignments. What they're assigned is based on need, and there's high turnover in these situations because, again, it's based on market forces. The matrix is a team-based structure. It's based on function of in the organization. And what was not mentioned in the reading, and is often not the structure of organizations, and that is a client-centered organization. When you look at the organizational chart, it is not the executive director at the top, but it is the clients who are at the top. And clearly the organization serves the clients. We think all of our organizations do that, but it's interesting when it actually shows that in an organizational chart. Organizations should not be stagnant. They have to be willing to change based on the environment around them. Organizations will change when there is a new director because the director sets the organizational culture, and we need to continuously evaluate job satisfaction to avoid large turnover. There are times, just like client situations, we have to deal with staff who are exhibiting problems. And so a supervisor manager has to use all their good clinical problem solving skills in order to deal with problematic staff as well. You want to ensure that you're not discriminating against your staff. that if you have to engage in discipline, first of all, that it is in a policy and you follow the policy. And just like client situations, with staff situations, documentation is all important. You're following progressive discipline. You're trying to help employees achieve what they want to achieve and the goals of the organization. Supervisors have to have good listening skills. Again, you're helping your staff grow. You can role play with them situations. And as I said before, talking to them is not just about problems. There are several theories that the reading talked about. One is motivational theory, and looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs is one of the theories where we are enriching personal growth. McGregor's Theory X and Theory Y. Theory X says that people only will work well if you are a dictator or you control them, versus Theory Y, which says people will work for an organization better if you are involved in engaging them. And of course, Theory Y is what we hope that you would follow. McClellan's need for achievement theory is matching individual needs to job roles. Vroom's expectancy theory states that motivation is influenced by the individual's perception that better performance generates greater rewards, and that those rewards, however, must hold some sort of value. Hertzberg's hygiene motivator theory talks about hygiene as those external factors like salary, working conditions. Salary and working conditions are important, but people will work for you for a very long time, even though the salary might be less than another organization, if in fact their needs are being met at that organization. The hygiene motivator theory also includes motivational factors like growth and responsibility, the actual work, what people are getting out of working for the organization. A good supervisor gives positive examples, gets to know their staff, gives clear instructions, sells versus tells in terms of getting people to engage in activities. A good supervisor is collaborative, but you're not doing therapy with your staff. So if your staff have issues that they need to work on, then you're referring them and helping them move towards getting that help to um, follow up and deal with those issues. And you engage staff in problem solving. If there are problems, try asking them how they would seek to solve those problems. You're not controlling. You're honest. You don't exhibit favoritism, and you don't encourage cliques in the organization. One of the chapters talks about time management. Many of you have probably gone through many time management courses. You know that you are supposed to do the hardest things first, that you don't procrastinate, that you do lists, all those things that would make you a better organized person, and supervisors need to be organized. In terms of meetings, don't meet if you can convey the same information in writing, by phone, or by email. Set agendas, doing the most important things first, the ones you really want to get accomplished. You can brainstorm. It talks about the nominal group decision making process, which is a way to get consensus on difficult situations, but you can get consensus in a short period of time. And the last chapter talks about boards. A board of directors in a nonprofit, their two roles are governance and finance. They are not involved in day-to-day operations of the organization. That is what the executive director or CEO does in the organization. Their job is to select that person and to evaluate that person. So boards help raise money. They help further the objectives of the organization. They supervise the executive director, but again, they are not involved in day-to-day operations. So that's an overview of week 6. I look forward to reading those final proposals. And as always, if there are any questions, please email me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Have a wonderful day.